let me hit you with this week's topic. Sorry, that was terrible. HIIT workouts, HIIT, high intensity interval training. What this basically is, if you don't know, which you probably do, is when you do short bursts of exercise between periods of rest or very low intensity activity. So think you're walking on the track, and then you're running, sprinting for 10 seconds, and you start walking. You run, sprint, 30 seconds later, whatever it is. Or this is kind of the method that a lot of group fitness classes do. You do a bunch of, oh, I'm doing a wild shit, and then you stop for a bit. And you go, oh, I'm doing wild shit again for a few seconds. That kind of stuff. Now, I hate this shit. It's not like it's not helpful in terms of exercise, but I have a bad experience with it. When I was first losing weight, what I did was, okay, this was me like right at the beginning of the 100-pound loss, right? I was doing the elliptical, and I think I was just doing steady state. I don't think I was doing HIIT while I was doing that. It was just steady state for, I don't remember, 30, 40 minutes or something. Then, about a year-ish later, I started college. And since their security was so bad, I started using their gym before I was before the semester started. And I started using their gym equipment because they had a lot. So I got on the treadmill. I'm like, okay, let's look up workouts for losing weight. And of course, HIIT pops up. So what I did was on the treadmill for like 11 minutes. Man, I really forgot what it was, but it was something really specific. Like you walk for 1 minute. You do like 7 miles per hour for 1 minute. You do 5 miles per hour for 2 minutes. You go back up for like 30 seconds. You go back down for like a minute and a half. Like you go up and down, varying degrees of intensity. I hated that with a passion. I fucking hated it. It felt chaotic and not that helpful. Now, where I was wrong is it can be helpful for exercise, stamina, whatever, right? What it was not helpful was in terms of weight loss, because first of all, weight loss is largely food intake. Yes, you can exercise your way to being thinner, but holy fucking hell, it's going to take a lot of work. I'm talking doing HIIT stuff for like an hour every day, all right? That's the only way to replicate just not eating as much. So don't do that. But yeah, after the HIIT sessions, I would normally be sweaty as hell, and then I would go to the weight room of the gym because they had a separate like cardio kind of room with some machines, and they had a separate weight room. I would go over there and then do another program I looked into, just like a starter strength kind of thing. I found that to be more enjoyable, so I kind of changed the ratio over time to do more strength-based stuff once I lost some more weight. Because honestly, if you're a sedentary person, you changed nothing else about your eating or any other activity, and then you add in a bunch of treadmill shit, weight training, you're gonna get all this activity and you're gonna get all this muscle in, and your body will change over time if you just stick with it. Now, there's an easier way to do this. Train the way that you want to, plus eat less, and then you pretty much get where you want to get to. But that's what I was doing, and I eventually transitioned away from doing HIIT, and I never did it again. Well, that's not true. There's sometimes I went to a nearby track. I'm walking, I sprint the long side, walk the short side, that kind of thing, just for funsies, I guess. It's not very fun, but it does add some variety sometimes. Which if you exercise for, like 16 years or whatever it is, then yeah, you're not gonna need it, but it's nice to have some variety here and there. So HIIT is more like a spice for me. Even then, it's a fairly rare spice. But anyway, HIIT is challenging. A HIIT session should only last about 10 minutes to half an hour, and that's including rest time. And a lot of people love it because, oh my God, it burns and melts fat. Whatever the fuck that means. By the way, if anyone ever tells you, hey man, just work out a lot, you'll lose a ton of weight. And by that, they're implying that, you're burning your excess fat via activity. Don't listen to that. That's not really how it works. What they're trying to do is just get you in a state where you're really sweaty and tired and you think, oh man, I did a lot of stuff. And then if you don't make the progress you want, you think, oh my God, I'm trying so hard and it's not enough. You're going to think it's your fault. That, oh my God, I'm a weakling and I should be doing way, way, way more, feel way worse. Oh my God. And then you quit, whatever. That's usually how it goes when people fall for the HIIT burns and melts your fat away. It's not really what happens. Now, yeah, HIIT can burn more calories in a cardio session than just taking a walk or something like that. But again, most calories you burn through activity, exercise activity is kind of negligible, especially when you remember that you can undo the calorie burn of almost any workout by just eating a handful of Oreos. Not even a handful, maybe a couple, a few. So, it's not useless for exercise, but if you're using it for weight loss, yes, that is useless. It's not fun. And honestly, if that's the only way that you work out, it's not great. You're going to lead to burnout mentally and physically. Now, physically, obviously, you're burning, it's like burning yourself out, right? Mentally, I mean, depending on the person, exercise can just be mentally exhausting to begin with, but I'm not gonna lie, during HIIT, there's a lot of dread. It's like, okay, I get to relax. And then you're mentally counting down, oh my God, I have 28 seconds until I have to like blow all my energy again. Oh my God, I can't really relax. I'm worried about this energy. I'm gonna have to expend it. Oh my God, I gotta go now. And you just go and then you wear yourself out again and you're like, oh my God, I'm even more tired than before. But my break is the same. Oh my God. I'm not gonna, it's just you're dreading. It's like, oh, I'm rounding the corner of the track. I'm gonna have to run. Should I mentally slow down just a little bit so I can prolong this break a little bit? This is a lot going on, honestly. So if you do this shit all the time, it might fuck you up. Not gonna lie. And some people, this messes them up because similar to bodybuilding, people think bodybuilding is like, this is a default way that you exercise. A lot of people think, and probably more people think that HIIT, this, high intensity group fitness shit or solo shit is the default way to exercise. They think exercise means I go into a group of other people, flail around, sweat, and that is exercise. True, that is exercise, but it's not necessarily the exercise that you need to do or would even enjoy doing or would even be effective for your goal. To a lot of people, they think this is what you got to do, and they try it. They're overwhelmed as fuck because HIIT is demanding and not as effective as they think. And then they give up because they're like, okay, this is exercise. This is what I got to do to lose weight, and it's not even working. Fuck that. And then they quit. So honestly, it's kind of a deterrent, in my opinion. Making people think HIIT is something they should try out immediately. I've seen this happen a bunch of times, working in multiple gyms in the past. There's some people that they don't want to do personal training. They're like, oh, just do group fitness classes. And then they invite their newbie friends to do it. And they basically just throw them into the pool. Not literally, but I mean, it can be literally, but they just throw them into the deep end. They're doing this hard stuff that they're not used to. And they think, wow, that's my first experience. I hate this. I'm not going to exercise anymore. So that sucks. It's not great. And another issue with the HIIT stuff is that most of it is kind of novelty for a lot of people. It's like, wow, I'm going to flail around real hard and sweat a lot. And oh my God, this is working out. This is peak exercise. And there's not really a progression or structure. Let's say you're a runner, or rather you're training to do a marathon or something, and you're really new, right? You'd be walking, if you're doing, let's say adapting HIIT, right? You'd be walking and then you have a period of like jogging, right? And then you slow down, you walk. Then eventually your base is jogging, and then you do like a faster run, then you go down to a jog, whatever. And then you would swap that out for like sprint, then jog or run as the rest, and then that kind of thing, or walking, whatever, right? That would be kind of a progression, and which HIIT can be kind of useful, getting you acclimated to the energy you're gonna have to output or something like that. Like in fighting as well. That can be helpful just to get those bursts of energy out and get your body ready for it. But a lot of the ways that people engage in HIIT is not really like that. It's just hop into a class. I'm fucking doing fucking burpees, jumping around, boo bop, no relation to anything whatsoever. I'm just hopping around, whatever. So they're just, people are just getting tired instead of closer to any goal whatsoever. Now, let me get into the devil's advocate here. And I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick to this like voice. It sounds like fucking Jimmy from South Park. Because I don't know. I don't know how else to do this. I can't. I'm not a voice actor. Okay, so I just have to do my mocking voice. I'm someone else. So sorry. HIIT is better than all other workouts. Why do anything else? Well, you're gonna have to prove that first of all before you say that. Why do anything else? Because HIIT sucks. I mean, if you like it, cool. You still should do other things because in this case, HIIT is kind of just cardio, honestly. You need some kind of resistance training. It doesn't have to be, weightlifting necessarily, but it can be body weight stuff. There needs to be some other kind of exercise, like cardio, resistance training. They're all helpful. If you literally just focus on one, you will be missing out in some way. So you can just apply this to anything. Why do anything else? For well-rounded fitness, that's why. If I'm not dying at the end, it wasn't a good session. That's exactly what the fuck I'm talking about with that mindset. A lot of people have this mindset when they get into fitness for the first time. They're like, oh my God, I need to sweat. I need to feel terrible. I need to ache. I need to hurt. No, you fucking don't. In fact, you shouldn't be hurting. Otherwise, that means you broke something, which is really bad. But yeah, I mean, for HIIT itself, you don't have to necessarily be dying, but you probably be sweating. When you're doing exercise or something that's supposed to benefit you, you shouldn't feel like the word dying shouldn't come into it. Let's just put it that way. HIIT burns fat faster than anything. I'll just do that and skip weights or walking. Actually, doing weights and walking overall would probably be better than just doing HIIT. Burning fat faster. You may burn more calories during the workout, like I said. But getting rid of your fat is due to other factors, mostly not eating as much as you were to. A lot of people think they just get fat randomly. It's not. It's due to your habits, your eating habits, what you've been doing. So what you're going to have to do is change what you've been doing. Usually in this case, the food has to go down. The exercise has to exist. You don't have to be extreme in either of those changes, but that's what'll get you losing that fat. Let's get into some numbers. Like I mentioned before, HIIT can burn more calories than just doing steady state cardio, just chilling on the treadmill, the same pace, doing the elliptical walking, whatever it is. But like I said, it's kind of negligible. And by that, I mean, it's, it depends obviously, but it could be like 100, maybe 150 more. So, I guess if you want to eat an extra apple and an Oreo, then do HIIT, I guess. But overall, it doesn't make that much of a dent in your actual weight loss. What makes more of a dent is not eating the fucking Oreo to begin with. And the reason I use Oreo as an example so much is that I remember in my brain it's like 60 or 65 calories per. And I don't remember the calories of like any other junk food. I think bags of chips are like what, 240 calories these days? I don't know. Anyway, if you're wondering why I always say Oreos, because I remember it's like 60, 65 calories. I'm not going to check that because I don't really buy Oreos, but that's my frame of reference for trash. Now, for stats here, if you do want to improve your fitness in terms of aerobic or anaerobic, which is kind of like your energy bursts, I guess. Anaerobic is more for energy bursts, as in you're doing something so hard you can't really breathe while you're doing it. And aerobic is when you're doing stuff that's challenging, but you can hold a conversation, but you're still breathing more heavily. HIIT can obviously improve that. Apparently 2 to 3 sessions per week like 15 minutes will help improve your cardio. I mean, sure, that's kind of obvious, but most people who get into this don't want to improve their cardio. If you're like really interested in improving your running, your distance running or something like that, you're probably doing other stuff on a track. You're probably not doing HIIT. If you're running sprints for track, then maybe you'll be doing that. But yes, obviously, doing more intense cardio will increase your cardio. Now, something interesting with I don't know where this stat came from, but apparently the injury rate for HIIT can be double that of just moderate intensity exercises, especially if you overdo it, which that's what HIIT is. It's kind of overdoing it, kind of. And if you skip recovery. Now, a lot of people who are into HIIT, they're like, oh, I want to go hardcore. I want to die. I want to sweat. I want to be a puddle on the floor. But recovery, what the fuck is that? I just want to get fucked up. So that could obviously lead to injury because overtraining and under recovery are the same exact thing. So how can you avoid getting derailed in your goals by HIIT? How can you make it despite HIIT? Well, you can do HIIT if you want to. That's fine. Like as your cardio, that's totally fine. Just make sure it's not the only thing you do, and that you have proper recovery. You do it properly. Don't just jump off the walls and do backflips just to sweat. Just have some kind of structure, some kind of thing you're working towards, I guess. Or do a similar thing most times so you can get used to it, be better at it. But if your goal is to lose weight, get rid of some body fat, HIIT's not ideal. Obviously, like I was saying before, if you do nothing else in your life, you don't adjust your food, activity, anything, you only add in HIIT, yes, it'll help for sure, because at that point, the activity will affect the caloric intake. However, that's not always how it works for a lot of people. If you're more active, you might be more hungry, which would, nullify the burnt calories or burned calories from the HIIT workout. Is that good? Burnt calories or burned calories is like calories you burn. Burnt would be like burnt popcorn, I guess. English is hard. Anyway, HIIT is not inherently bad. But the way that most people frame it in their mind, the way that most people use it is. It's usually the newbies who have no relation to fitness, no experience with it. They hop into something that's very hard and not super conducive to their goal of losing weight. It can be, but it's not the best way to do it. So if you understand the role of exercise in weight loss, as in it's a supplementary bonus boost in the whole process, and you do some HIIT here and there because you're into it, that's cool. That's totally fine. But if you're like, I will do nothing else except do this weird class where I sweat all the time, and I will expect to lose dozens of pounds, that is where you might not make it. Very likely you will not. In fact, I think, might have mentioned this before, I almost definitely have, but with the insanity workout that I did by Beachbody, I don't know how popular that workout is anymore, but I did that. There's a lot of HIIT in there, doing high intensity stuff, waiting for a bit, doing high intensity stuff. I did that for 8 fucking weeks, 6 days, just 5 or 6 days per week. I forget. I did not miss a fucking day. That was one of my triumphs. I never want to do it again, but I'm proud of doing that. I didn't miss a fucking day. 6 is crazy. It must have been 5 per week, right? I think it was 6. Anyway, at least 40 of these sessions within 2 months. I lost 2 fucking pounds because I expected all that sweat, all that work to result in a bunch of weight loss, but that's not what happened. Because I was working out more and I was eating more. So I didn't understand the role of nutrition in that whole process. So, point being, HIIT alone won't save you. But if you want to do it, it ain't bad. It's just not your savior. Remember that. And if you do want to get into it, start slow. Don't do fucking 5 times per week. Do like once or twice or something. And for God's sake, if you were not overweight to begin with and you start doing HIIT, please eat more and do some resistance training, because fuck in hell, you're gonna waste away. God, I sound like a grandma or something. But yeah, if you add like a buttload of burned calories every single day without making any other adjustments, then if you're not already overweight, then you will probably lose a bit of weight slowly over time, and it's not gonna be great. So, again, nutrition is key. If you work out more, you're probably gonna eat more. So just keep all that in mind. You're gonna want to eat more when you work out more. To lose the weight, though, you should probably keep the same, or maybe even lower the amount that you're eating to be helpful. Of course, that means you have to eat stuff that is more filling. Otherwise, you're gonna be hungrier. Which is fine. You're exercising. You will be hungrier. You will. Just eat stuff that fills you up more. That'll take care of that. But don't use HIIT as the magic bullet for this kind of this whole process. It's not gonna work out. You're not gonna make it. Anyway, have you ever done HIIT? Personally, I find it hit or miss. That was really fucking bad. I might cut that out, but I'm gonna forget to edit that shitty joke. Anyway, see you next time.